This is the story of Maya, an 11-year-old girl so shy that even her own footsteps seemed afraid to echo, a child who walked softly through life as though she didn't want to disturb the world around her, a child whose voice trembled whenever she introduced herself in class, whose cheeks flushed whenever someone looked her way, and whose eyes always searched the floor because she believed that looking up was too bold for someone like her. She lived quietly, gently, embracing the corners of life that others overlooked. But in her silence lived something extraordinary, something pure, something tender, something sacred. In her solitude, behind the closed door of her small bedroom, Maya would sing. Her voice, soft as a prayer, carried the kind of innocence and depth that even she didn't understand. She didn't sing for applause, she didn't sing to be noticed. She sang because it made her heart feel whole. Whenever fear or sadness threatened to swallow her, she turned to music as though it were a secret doorway out of the noise of the world and into the arms of peace. Her mother would pause, quietly listening from the hallway, tears gathering in her eyes not because of sadness, but because she could hear in that gentle voice something she knew the world desperately needed: healing. But Maya, wrapped in shyness like a fragile shell, didn't think anyone would ever want to hear her sing. She believed her voice was too small, too soft, too insignificant. She didn't yet understand that what is small to us can be magnificent to the universe. One afternoon, life shifted in a way no one could have predicted. Her mother, wanting to capture a memory, secretly recorded Maya singing. The recording was simple, unpolished, but filled with a purity that touched the heart. Through a series of unexpected events, the video reached a vocal coach who helped prepare young performers for America's Got Talent auditions. The coach listened, stunned, replaying the recording again and again. There was something otherworldly in the girl's voice, something that felt like light breaking through clouds. The coach called Maya's mother immediately, saying, "Your daughter has a once-in-a-generation voice. She must audition." When Maya overheard this, her blood ran cold. Fear wrapped around her like a chain. How could she, a child terrified of speaking in class, stand on a stage in front of thousands? How could she face judges, cameras, lights, and an audience that stretched beyond her imagination? Her breath quickened, tears filled her eyes, and she whispered, "I can't do it. I'll freeze. I'll fall apart." Her mother knelt in front of her, wiping the tears from her child's cheeks with hands overflowing with love. "My sweet girl," she said softly, "sometimes the universe calls us before we feel ready. Sometimes fear is the doorway to our purpose. And you don't have to be brave alone. I will walk with you every step, and God will walk with you every step you cannot take." That night, Maya couldn't sleep. She stared at the ceiling, at the faint glow of the moon, wondering why her heart hurt and yet pulled her forward at the same time. She whispered a quiet prayer, not for success, not for applause, but simply for peace. And in the stillness of that night, something shifted deep inside her. Not courage, not confidence, but a small, gentle calmness, like a warm light flickering inside her chest, telling her, "Try." The day of the audition arrived with sharp nerves and trembling hands. The line outside the venue was long, filled with performers brimming with confidence, dancers stretching, singers vocalizing, groups rehearsing their routines. Maya clung to her mother's hand, her feet barely moving as they stepped inside the massive building. The sounds, the lights, the crowd, it all felt too big for a small girl who preferred to disappear into the background. But she kept walking, guided more by faith than her own strength. When her number was finally called, her heart slammed against her ribs. Stepping onto the stage felt like stepping into another world. The audience was a sea of faces blurred by bright stage lights. The judges, icons she had only ever seen on television, watched her with curiosity as she stood trembling in the center of the stage, small, fragile, and frightened. Simon leaned forward and asked, "What's your name?" She whispered, barely audible, "I'm Maya." "And how old are you, Maya?" 11. A gentle smile crossed the judges' faces. "What will you be singing for us today?" She swallowed hard. "A song I sing when I'm scared." Something in that admission touched the room. A hush fell over the crowd. Maya closed her eyes. Her hands trembled around the microphone. She felt fear rise, heavy and paralyzing. But then, like a warm hand resting gently on her heart, she felt peace. A presence. A spiritual stillness. A reminder that she was not standing alone. She inhaled deeply, and when she exhaled, she let her voice follow. The first note floated gently into the air, fragile yet filled with emotion. Within seconds, something miraculous happened, the trembling stopped. Her voice found its strength, growing like a small flame turning into light. Every word she sang carried the weight of her journey, her quiet battles, her loneliness, her hope, her faith. Her voice was not loud. It was not powerful in the way most performers strive to be. But it was pure. It was spiritual. It was healing. And the audience felt it. Mothers began wiping tears. Even the judges, known for their critical eyes, softened. People leaned forward, not wanting to miss a single note. Maya sang with her eyes closed, unaware of the waves she was creating. She sang as though she was singing only for herself, or perhaps for something greater. She sang with a heart that had known fear, but had chosen faith. By the time she reached the final note, silence fell over the room, holy, reverent silence. The kind of silence that happens only when something touches the soul. For 3 long seconds, the room remained completely still. And then, an explosion of applause, cheers, and tears. The audience rose to their feet. The judges stood as well. Even Simon, known for his rare standing ovations, stood up slowly, his expression filled with awe. Maya, he said softly, I don't know where that voice came from, but I think the world needed to hear it. Backstage, Maya burst into tears, not because she was scared, but because she realized something profound. She had not sung alone. Every note felt guided, protected, uplifted by a peace she couldn't explain. She had discovered something her fear had always hidden. Her voice was not just a talent, it was a calling. Her mother wrapped her arms around her, whispering, You did it, my love. But remember, this moment wasn't about fame. It was about finding your courage. Your gift is a blessing, and blessings are meant to be shared. In the days that followed, Maya's audition went viral. People around the world wrote messages saying her voice brought them comfort, hope, healing, and peace. Some said they cried without knowing why. Some said her voice reminded them of their childhood, of loss, of love, of God. Maya realized something beautiful. Her quietness had never been a weakness. It was the soil where her spirit grew. Her shyness had not held her back, it had made her voice pure, unforced, sincere. Her journey became a reminder to millions that you do not need to be loud to be powerful, you do not need to be fearless to be brave, and you do not need to be seen to matter. Sometimes the quietest souls carry the deepest purpose. Sometimes the softest voices carry the loudest truth. And sometimes the most unexpected people become the world's greatest source of light. Maya continued singing, not for fame, but to bring peace to others. Her story lives on as a spiritual testament that growth begins with one small step of faith, that healing begins with one small breath of courage, and that purpose reveals itself when we listen to the whisper within. And as you hear her journey today, may you remember that you, too, carry a gift inside you. A quiet strength, a hidden light, a voice, whether spoken, sung, or expressed through your heart, that is meant to touch the world in ways you cannot yet imagine. So when fear visits you, when doubt sits heavy in your chest, when your dreams feel too big or too distant, may you remember Maya and take one brave step forward. For your miracle may be waiting on the other side of that fear. Thank you for staying with Kind Tales. Please subscribe and like my videos so that more souls can find peace, inspiration, and the courage to let their own light shine.